say we just saw Big get decimated on the stage. Remember, Complexity, inexperienced squad in that respect as well. Fallen and Co, they're the OGs of the stage. They've been doing this a while. They know how to win trophies. Complexity been down good at the group stages. Can they pick it up here and perform at the same level they've been showing throughout this major? It's been fantastic to see. And ladies and gentlemen, your hometown hero Def about to go up against Mibr here. Let's make some noise as we get ready for the second quarterfinal of the day. Mibr studying the T side of train, Complexity on the CT side. An asset for them. It's going to need to be a successful start. I feel like they need momentum, toe for toe, pound for pound. Mibr have got more firepower. Their Complexity, they've got the strategies, they've got the teamwork. As we get into, we'll see what kind of approach is coming in from the Brazilian side. We've got Fallen with one smoke, the Molotov available there, and of course they head towards inside. The Molotov presumably used towards Connector, can be used in post-plant play as well, but here we go. Destiny challenge as he holds off the inside push.
Keep in mind, as the bomb goes down for this game and this game only, you can actually check out the premium pass completely for free. More on that info in a minute because this pistol round's heating up. Android's got Tarek down. Bomb, remember, continues to tick. It's a 3-on-3. Stan has the kit and the smoke. Remember, there is one in play. As Cold already on the map, already sitting inside of it, is actually going to go by. The position is incredibly powerful for Mibr because they have the backside of Z connector. Good trade from Yang. Turn around to win the fight against Shazam. He's actually taking out Cold. It brings it to a one-on-one with Fallen. It's got to be all Ye. 6 HP. He can play the time. Ye has not picked up the kit, but he's going to try and use the smoke, try and use the advantage. He's still one bullet would do it, and Ye has been outdone. Fallen is sneaky, and Mibr get the round.
Classic Fallen play there. Low HP, did everything he could to stay away from the CT player. There was smoke down on the bomb. He had to use, what, 15 bullets, even stop the diffuse initially, and he comes out on top with 6 HP. Both of them go down with the bomb, just to know. No Complexity players survived to round number 2 here, so they are going to force fight in the second. We've got a plethora of different pistols here. Deagles, P250s, CZs, and a Scout for Death. Mibr focusing on the rifles though. It's train, it does make sense. A very long range map here. Lots of easy altercations with the rifles to abuse. As we'll see, 4 AK-47s. Tarek with the MAC-10, throw him in first, as he'll be holding towards the dumpster for now, as they try and obtain some Brown Horse control. Don't need to do anything too quick here. We do talk a lot about, especially on the big stage, teams that go for inside rushes on this second round. You don't know if you're going towards a stack, especially on a map like Train. You want to slow it right down, go into that default, bait out some of the grenades, see if you can feel out where the stack may lie. If you can get a 5 versus 4, a nice opening pick, then you go into a bomb site together. As you can see, Brown Horse now and the flashbang coming in, not giving anything away here, making sure there's trade potential. They're saving the majority of the utility with 2 smokes here and the flashbangs, and they're walking towards that upper ramp. We always said it's a good way to enter the bomb site. You're up against those pistols. You've got the advantage here, bird's eye view of the site, and it should be working out for Stewie. We'll see if he can nail this first shot.
Tries to walk back into the site for, I think, down Ye. Not much can do. The damage was applied. Stewie, he's still on 57 from that range. Pistols against armor, can't do much. Pretty straightforward for the AKs. It's Cold. Gets 2 more. Tarek finds one on a MAC-10. Mibr go up 2-0. Convincing fashion. All 5 staying alive.
Very convincing. That's how you do it. That's an anti-force buy. Perfectly done there by Mibr. Nothing to report. Only a little bit of damage taken as they came out of the upper ramp, but those lesser pistols unable to really find the headshot required. Complexity now in the full eco. Can't really justify anything into round number 3. It's a chance for Mibr to really develop some cash here. They haven't really got the build-up of the bonus round coming in. They've got that MAC-10, which could be influential if it survives to the next round. But overall, the 4 AKs, more of the same here. Cold Zera can afford to be a little bit more audacious with his openings because he knows there's no armor now, and obviously no armor, they will just melt. If he gets this one, ooh, that's a lovely shot by him, and there's the 2 kills. You can see he got a little bit scary for a second, but still well held. Tarek can recover the AK-47 at the end, and it's up to Death now to try and find one. Not going to happen. Tarek will try and find the AK as he knifes out. I'll just keep track of whether he finds it. Not going to happen. Oh, there it is. He gets it the very last second, so Tarek does recover it, and Cold Zera can even buy the AWP now, give that to Fallen. That would make a lot of sense at this point. He's got plenty of cash. He just lost that MAC-10. Let's bring out the AWP. Give it to Fallen, who's looked revitalized, Matt. He's a player that's really turned his year around. 2018 has been one of the worst since he's become at the very top end of the scene. Yeah. But now, with this event especially, he's looked much better. People are saying Fallen is back, but Shazam has looked phenomenal as well. You pointed out that could be a really big, interesting battle here. We'll see how it comes out on top. Remember, 3 players with our helmets here, almost no utility or defuse kits for the CTs.
And remember, Shazam's definitely on the back foot in that battle, so pressure's on him. You are right, with MIBR and the history of the Brazilian rosters, they rose to prominence so quickly that we've never really seen them in a slump of any prolonged period. Obviously, they've had a few bad events in that period of time, but this is the first sort of rebuilding phase that they've been into, and Fallen has been, I guess, symmetrical in form with the team. So him being back does certainly suggest good things for MIBR, but this round, slower pace, now that the guns are brought out. Minute 14 still to play with, and there's not really much utility left on the CT side. That second round force, you talked about it, Henry, leaves them with 1 smoke, 1 incendiary, no kits.
It makes a lot of sense. You want to be doing execution-based plays on these particular rounds. You know the CTs won't be fully equipped. They might not have a defuse kit. If you can just get a post-plant situation for equal trades with a superior firepower as well, you're going to be onto a very successful start here on the T side of train. They are in full control as the execution comes in. 45 seconds remain. Looks like it will be an outside take. Could fall back to inside. Foe the bomb actually thinking about it as well. Indeed, they start to wedge back. So this is a classic fake. Will it pull a CT away from the inside bomb side? Shazam thinking about it. Hasn't moved just yet. Holding strong at the hitch. Watching towards the upper ramp. So they have not taken the bait. Very passive from the CTs.
Yeah, he's starting to get a little bit more aggressive on the B positioning. Wants to swing up behind spools. Gives him a bit more cover to play solo. Jason's already going back through spawn. Bomb planted. And finally a kill coming in. That's how slow and patient they were to approach the site. They couldn't really peek on the complexity side. Didn't have the defensive nades to do so. And the trades go back in the way of MIBR. Now 2 kills only to the 1 that was found from above. Creeping in on the AWP. Finds Android. Finds Def retreating out of control room. They knew that he was there the whole time. And Shazam's playing to save the op at this point in time in a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, he has no defuse kit, no nades. His objective at this point, save the AWP, which is likely. He could actually do this. He's holding up for this kill. He knows he has to nail this shot. Now might be punished as he falls back towards the backtracks here. It's very important he saves the weapon. If he can, they have a chance of winning eventually. The bomb will go off. He's trying to keep everyone on that side. Actually works out. Fallen goes down, and he will save the AWP. I might have spoken too soon. As soon as we can find him, not quite.
That was actually well read from Shazam to go into that cubby, because he knew that Fallen was baiting for 2 reasons. One is he wanted to get out of there and get the information to where the op was, but also the flank.
So they wanted to start with a fake outside, right? They tried to do the smokes. The bomb was getting ready to go lower, but like I said, such a passive hold from the CTs yielded MIBR to have full outside control. It's like, well, we might as well come plant here. The CTs are playing so passively. The bomb goes down, still on a 5-on-5, and then Def gets the opening frag, but at that point, that bomb site is just too difficult to retake, especially against a team like MIBR. They've got the AWP, the utility, but more importantly, complexity do save the AWP. And like I said, you can still win these rounds. They've got a superstar AWPer. Shazam can carry rounds if required. You can see him being a little bit more active this time, trying to find the first pick. He can't just sit back and try and beat off an execution. He has to try and find the first kill and make things very problematic. But so far, nothing found for himself. His teammates slightly invest into this round of upgraded pistols. Only Ye with armor though. So they're taking a pretty hard eco here around the AWP. MIBR know the AWP is up, so they're going to be very tentative here and probably execute towards inside. They know the AWP there, good for 1 kill, even with smokes down. They'll have to reposition, they can still plant.
Old sneaks by, so far no contact made. Shazam starting to approach toward Ivy now as well, realizing he hasn't seen anything toward the front side of it. Good news there, I suppose. They hit B quickly, which they will. He can actually try and save the weapon once more without rotating back over. We'll start for now just to see what becomes of the round, given that the bomb isn't yet planted. Forward smoke down, Stewie does the same. It's a linear corridor to be stuck inside of, but the A certainly prevails over pistol, and Android falls quite convincingly. Now Shazam starts the retreat as expected, so it's all about saving the op once again to go 5-0 for MIBR.
Not bad at all on the T side. Horrible news for complexity. Like we said coming into this one, they looked amazing in the studio environment. That's when they really came together as a squad, started turning heads. But like we mentioned, Big coming into this stage looked like a different team. It's a lot different, the environment and the pressure applied onto in the booth there. Complexity, rough start. Can they get out of it? Time will tell. Still very recoverable, very early days here. 5-0 though. Idyllic for MIBR. They've barely... It's looking very, very promising for them so far. Another clean sweep for Mibr. The AWP is saved by Shazam. They've got plenty of cash. They can go for the double AWP setup, which we know they're capable of. We'll see if that rings true.
You make a good point. They've barely given away a kill. Fallen may only have 2 himself, but he's yet to die. Yes. And as a result of that, the AWPer post-buy in this round where he repurchased, obviously, utility, still has 9,400. They've got a huge amount of money to work with.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult to break, if possible. So there it is. Def will bring out the secondary AWP as well, but still not looking 100% stable. Def without a defuse kit or the majority of his grenades, and Mibr start to probe towards Ivy this time. They'll play around the AWP, get him up on the dumpster first, and try and go for that first pick. Def is waiting there. He's going to be challenging Fallen. That is not a battle you want to take traditionally. As he gets flashed off the initial angle, he'll have to smoke it now, knowing he's lost the opening duel per se. Won't have to be as much information as before. Firing off shots gives away the fact he has the AWP on that side of the map, and Shazam is pushed back by the Molotov. Looks like he wants to stay there though. With the incendiary, throws it towards the top of the lower ramp. I think this is actually still quite good news for Mibr. That's even better. Stewie 2K takes a 1-versus-1 duel against the AWP, comes out on top, and Ye has to try and recover this, and Stewie's just waiting for him. Down he goes. Ye tried to recover the situation map, but completely punished for it, and that's going to be round over already.
The shots are so accurate so far from Mibr. This to the last game, but Big was certainly struggling to match the aim of Na'Vi early on Dust 2. That shows similar now. Fur's not convinced.
They don't even want to plant, they want to kill them. That's what they're doing right now. He's like, don't even plant, let's just take everyone down with us.
Because the investment into the double op stand. Point. The AKs are hitting. We already saw Cold hit a very quick reaction shot on round 2 at the outer sight. We're seeing again now Stewie wrecking 2 players at the corner. The aim is perfect from Mibr, and that's going to be a massive problem for Complexity to overcome. We know toe-to-toe, the skill favors Mibr. They had to be perfect on the Complexity side, but when they're firing like this, it's going to be so difficult. Opt to try and be saved for Def. He's got 2 kills in the round.
Yeah, and both of them are when he's trying to protect himself in this particular situation. They boost up towards the Ivy area. Fur drops down though. It's definitely worth the hunt still. They've got so much money on the T side, they can justify even another frag going against them. Fallen will eventually take down Def, and Android haven't really said his name too much yet. And he's got 1 and 5. At the dumpster, he's sure he'll be taken down. He's going to try and save the AWP. I'm sure the Molotov will be coming in soon. It's actually the bullets.
Android, he needed to be more aggressive to actually spot Fallen and give Def a chance to play at Ivy. He didn't expect Fallen to be there, so if you had gotten the op back, maybe you could call it. That's fair enough. You made up for it, but yeah, they ran him down. This is looking so sharp. 6-0, and again, it's back to pistols on the CT side.
Indeed, Shazam's got just shy of $7,000, so they could have bought something, maybe a Scout, maybe a little bit more interesting, but he stays in the Deagle, no armor, so he wants to make sure he has the AWP potential and have money to drop as well going forward. So CZ's he's got a couple of HE grenades presumably used towards the at the start. No real damage inflicted, but there's some. Fur gets 2 very quickly as they just completely dominate the map of Train so far. Another clean sweep of the looks of things, Matt. Complexity need to wake up. Mibr just completely destroying them here in every altercation. Just the CZ available for Ye as he holds up towards the inside bomb site, looking at that connector, and Mibr look way too comfortable. And the problem is when you get these sort of players in this zone map, they get into that mentality where they feel like gods, they can't die, and they start being more aggressive, more audacious with their strategies, and they can run over you very quickly. You need to find a way to shut this down. Now the problem is, do we go for an aggressive play on the CT side? Do we try and go for that first pick just to slow them down a little bit? They played very passively so far, and the problem with that is if you give Mibr that sort of space outside like we saw in that first gun round, they're going to punish you. They're going to know what to do in those scenarios. They're prepared for it. I feel like you need to surprise them somewhat, show you're not scared, you're not playing really far back, actually get the AWP challenging of the start. That has to be the way it's played, but unfortunately it's difficult to get in that mindset when you're down 7-0 on the CT side. You're just trying to hold on and make sure you don't go down first for your team. So round 8. No tactical timeouts here, I have to say. Surprising from Complexity. Would have thought they would have dropped one in by now, but still, AWP comes out, money's time to stabilize, this time they've got the defuse kits, the AWP, the utility required. Let's see if there's a change in stance. We see something aggressive here. We see them try and push the envelope in one part of the map. It will be Stanislaw alone towards the backtraps for now, and it looks like they might be playing in front of the bomb site to CT. This is better. At least they'll be challenging for the choke points instead of sitting right back in positions like heaven.
Def sitting below the ladder. No utility spent in that way yet. They've got lots to work with finally on the Complexity side. Careful not to be bled of that though. So Mibr is wise to the fact that they will have a better purchase. They'll sit back and try and do exactly that, try and figure out the seat's position, but also leave them with little to defend late. Jeff pushing up inside of A main gives away his position, but had Android to support him. No one found. Not to say it won't become a problem later on as the bomb is left intentionally towards the spawn, and still take over that position with Fur to lead the charge down. Has to make a decision. No bounce Molotov thrown. It's actually from halfway down the ladder. So they spotted the fact that he had to fall back. Drop into depth, and it absolutely destroys him. Good trade from Android. He's able to swing back in, and with one player already retreating back up the ladder, Cold goes down. No response from Stewie.
There we go. Still favors Mibr quite dramatically in a 4-on-4. CT still with no real information. They don't control anything significant on the map, maybe apart from Pop Dog. As smokes come in, will this be another fake from the Brazilians? It doesn't seem like it. Towards outside, Stewie will punish Android. Same story for Stanislaw, and now he's down the last line of defense outside. Needs his highest time. He's doing a great job so far. Takes down Fur, and he has Dan
really could have done well to get those 2 kills respectively once more. He's been trading. He's gonna have to do better than that. Finds Fallen. One pointer, a chance, and it's all in the hands of Ye. He spots Tarek, but again, this shot reigns supreme for the AK.
So close there for Ye. Great footwork, brought it down to a winnable situation, but Tarek, there's too much information there. The fact he'd been tagged up already, it was going to be a very difficult 1-versus-1 for him to win as he gets stuck in the connector. Tarek waits for him to peek and finds the 8-0. There will be money available once again for Complexity. The weapons they've saved continuously throughout this first map. They've still got enough of the M4s, the AWP, but you can see almost no utility. This is more of a desperation buy now. Shazam with no armor, no kits, and this is where things could really start to get rough. But remember, a chance for Mibr to get in this sort of mentality. They can start to make mistakes, be too aggressive. But there it is, an opening kill. Good spawn from Stewie. He takes the AWP, takes down the first player. Android has to pick up the AWP now, and they can slow things right down with his opening advantage.
Tries to play pallet, get some vision. Actually hit the shot on Android. He fell off of it. Didn't want to fire in the backside of Fur, but still damage done. Man advantage. Things looking lovely once more. Complexity continued to struggle to even find kills. Smoke dissolves. Cold reveals that he's there, but goes down. He's got problems, though, because a second player in Stewie once more. Cold and Stewie working in tandem to take over that Pop Dog position. Ye wants to compensate. You can't blame him at this point.
Yeah, they have to find some sort of advantage here. They're constantly... And Stewie looking like he wants another, but good positioning from Ye brings it to a 3-on-3. Another winnable situation. Stan, though, this is maybe a little bit too aggressive. Going to be punished for it, but they are keeping the frags and the trades coming through. Complexity now in the 2-on-2. 40 seconds remain, but Tarek's got a guaranteed kill here. Android with 10 HP, no chance whatsoever. Ye still going to be in the round somewhere. He's at the backtrack right now. No grenades, no defuse kit. That bomb goes down, it's game over. But if he finds Fallen here, catches him off guard, there is a chance. He's in the perfect position to do so. This could be the moment for Complexity. There's the kill. 20 seconds remaining now. It's up to Tarek to try and recover this for Mibr.
Yeah, he's been the most solid by far for Complexity, slowing things down, not walking into the angles that Mibr continue to dominate. Smart positioning again as he rotates around, and he outs Tarek. Something they've struggled to do is outthink their opposition. 8-1, Complexity finally on the board, but only one player staying alive.
One player stays alive, meaning there is a daunting prospect of the reset coming through. But Ye, he takes matters into his own hands. That's the kind of plays we need to see. The lack of respect for Mibr. You need to get up close and personal in those choke points and outplay your opposition. That's what he has to do. Definitely talented enough to make those sort of plays. Pulls it off. This time the clutch goes in his favor. But Matt, look at the buy.
Yeah.
3 SMGs, 2 of which are MP9s. Lose this round, which is likely considering your buy, you're double eco. This is a nightmare for Complexity. Still so much work to do. And the first bit of success they have is a little bit of a hollow victory because they just don't have the weaponry. What's going on here? All right.
Very intentionally thrown. He's done better with the MP9 than he has with the M4 in this position, and he's going to find 2. Tarek as well. Android gets Fur, and suddenly it all works out. Complexity changed the approach. They go doubly aggressive toward A main. Fallen wants to Molotov off on the bomb. That also forces Android further away, which pushes him back out of the smoke, and was potentially, I was going to say, into line of sight from Cold Zero, but he's smoked off. Smart play. Fallen still, though, able to find shots.
Can't face these kind of choke points against Cold Zero and Fallen. Even on a 5-on-2, I think they had the great setup there, trying to get a bit more intel. But at this point, you've got such an advantage. Takes down Fallen. That should be the round here. But can Cold Zero find any sort of damage? A Apparently not. Much better for Complexity. A must-win round there. They avoid the reset. They upgrade to AK-47s, 3 of those, and save the AWP. There is a light at the end of the tunnel here for Complexity. We're not over just yet as Stanislaw gets it done towards main entrance there. The MP9 in hand. Shazam secures around by taking out Fallen, and here's Death to close things out. Good stuff as Complexity now back on their feet. They've got one more buy, well, maybe 2 to break MIBR first. But a start now. Already lost a half. They're looking for that 8-7, which is definitely still possible. They can do this.
Long road ahead of them. Certainly, again, Ye showing good presence of mind in the round that he clutched back to win. In rotations and taking back map control, they need to have a similar approach, similar thought process, and already MIBR doing what they've done so many times, slowing it down and just covering those choke points so that Complexity doesn't have any room to work with.
They've got early Brown Horse control here as well. That's going to be Stewie making sure that area is under his remit. Bomb down by Pop Dog. This is better. This is what I wanted to see from Complexity. Let's start getting stuck in. Let's start challenging with 2 players. And be willing to show our own aim off. But Stanislaw may be willing, but still takes a bullet to the face through the edge of the wall there, I believe. Goes down to 18 HP. Lucky to be alive against those AKs. So a nice push, but didn't get the result they were looking for.
A bit of a gamble to fire into a blind smoke towards T-spawn where there's a million angles that which they could be playing.
If he had the silenced M4, you can maybe justify a little bit more, but the silence, the M4A4 in that position was a little bit too risky, I would say. Inside execution looking probable. We've got Ye and Android to defend here. They have an incendiary and a smoke. The smoke's just been thrown towards lower ramp. With 30 seconds remaining, perfectly timed. That's going to make things very uncomfortable now for MIBR. This is looking good.
Android has to be very swift to act off of Ye's aggression. In behind spools, he'll buy himself some space. No one's spamming it as of yet. Fallen AWP scoped in toward the lanes too. He's already got Android. That gives him the... He actually wanted to push down further, and Fallen just gets it. Swing it with a shot from Fallen. A response? No, it's not. Shazam couldn't collect. It looked like he had a lineup toward the top entrance, but it's all Stanislaw. That fell apart far quicker than it needed to. If Ye didn't swung out, I dare say Fallen was down. Beyond that, I'm not sure, because everyone else just gets obliterated.
Everyone's saying Fallen is back, but if he's hitting shots like that, I absolutely agree. That is vintage Fallen there. Up close and personal. Hits the headshot, of course. Overkill in many ways. There's 10 seconds remaining. They didn't even lose a single player then, Matt. So they avoided the reset before, but this is still dark times of Complexity. Round number 12, 9-2 down. UMP for Mass, a Deagle for Android, and 2 rifles here. This could be the end of their half if they can't pull this one off. They need to try and find those close range kills once again. Coldzera missing the initial Molotov, but makes up for it as they go for a faster outside play here. Will this favor the CTs? Time will tell. Tarek lies in wait inside the smoke, waiting for the flashbang to come through. There it is, and he will be taken down.
Colds. Scan trying to sneak back through the smoke towards the side channel.
What?
On top of the train, gets destroyed again by Fur. Every single duel just seems to slip from their grasp. Low HP on 2. Fur's angle's fairly clever. That part of the train to block off all but his head. Gives him a bit more to work with, but Ye has to back away now on 12 HP, being tagged so early and trying to save. They know that he has to run toward the confines of the B site. They'll already head up the ladder and down the brown halls. He's going to have very little room to breathe if he wants that M4.
Well, 12 HP, and there's no reason not to hunt him here. It's a very common position, Matt, to try and hold on to your M4. I think his days might be numbered. Stewie's surely going to investigate, but he does push a little bit more forward. He might survive this. You see, Stewie, and all he has to do is hit 1 bullet. Not going to happen, but Fallen will finish the top of the P250. That is the nightmare for Complexity. They were broke before. I'm not even sure what you would call this. They can't really justify much more than P250s. A 10-2 down. Need to take an eco. And then on the CT side of training, on the T side, I'd still say there's a slight chance for them here. But it looks like they're out of gas. And this is what I was worried about. They look so good in the studio environment. But MIBR just, they revel on the stage. This is where they do their best work. And that's why they're considered the world's best. Because they can play on the stage. And they even better than what they do in the studio. They get pumped up by the crowd, and looks like Complexity will have to take the full gear. They'll take a timeout at least to discuss their options. There's not many of them, I have to say. At this point, we'll just be discussing how they can keep their heads in the game and realize it's not over just yet. which it certainly is, and it never is. We've seen some tremendous comebacks in this major alone. This one might be beyond the pale, though. We'll see what they've gone for. Nothing invested from what I can see. Not a single dollar brought into round number 13. A gimme from Mibr if ever I've seen one there. Money is absolutely fine for the rest of the game. Now only be 2 rounds after this. As Tarek explores towards the connector. There is a player boosted up on the other side.
Molotov in hand, nearly caught him out. Can't transfer fast enough, so they do get 1 kill. Fur doesn't want to leave that AK on the ground, but he actually has. Shazam could click the E key and actually reach that far to get it. As Fur realizes he will now. Oh, careful, Fur. Didn't want to stick for the trades. Meanwhile, bomb goes down at the outer site. That was inevitable at that point. They didn't have the weapons to fire at range. So save the AK. It seems all the action we talk about on the complexity side in this game, Henry, is about a player saving.
That's been the most interesting storyline for Complexity, really. They've had a couple of great rounds with the up-close and personal MP9, but that's about as interesting as it's got for them. They have been saving weaponry, but Fur, he's taking no prisoners this time. Purely headshots for him as he pushes towards inside. That's Death going down, and it's up to Shazam now to try and hold this AK-47. He's towards that lower ramp, but he doesn't know where to look. Definitely going to have some trouble. Probably goes down here, though, to be honest, but of course, absolutely not. Stanislaw will survive, but with absolutely nothing. USP and Spawn, he still gets money on the CT side, just for those that are not familiar, but would have liked a lot more as we head to round number 14. It's 11-2, another stomping here in the quarterfinal as the M4s come out again, no kits, bare bones utility, and Mibr looking very comfortable, but still disciplined. I will say that much. I expected him to start looking a lot looser and making mistakes, but you can see Yankee is not allowing that to happen in any capacity. Keep your head screwed on, win every single round, don't let anything slip by.
Certainly true that you could easily get carried away in a situation like this. Start running rapid, start trying to look for individual stats.
Absolutely, and you can't take the temptation there. You need to make sure you stick to the game plan.
13 rounds in, Ye's on 9 kills. Highest complexity at this point in time. Everyone's had a chance on the Mibr side, but for Stewie has. He's gone right through. Audible. Recognize that. Android is well to find Tarek. This is looking better now for Complexity as the overextension, trying to be clever inside of the smoke, has actually cost them, but look at Cold. Again, AWP walks at this time from the bottom of Pop Dog. Fur now takes the access from that, the room given to him by the way of that. Starts to work past E-Box, but Shazam's already gotten fallen back. Not long for life. We're able to spray into him. This is even better from Def. They know exactly where he was, so Def, although ready, plays it for the trade, and that's perfectly done from Complexity. Finally, they get 1 more.
You can see them playing in front of the smokes once again. They're sticking in pairs as well. The CT's making sure they're utilizing the buddy system correctly. It's Cold, it was Stewie that got through, and he thought, that's it, he's going to find a couple of frags here behind enemy lines, but Def takes care of him and closes out the round as well. Good stuff by him as getting the final kill. We're going to the final round of the first half here. Remember, it is a best of 3. We've got Inferno next, where Complexity have shown their absolute best work throughout this tournament so far. They have got the AWP once more for Shazam. They need the 11-4 here. It has to happen. 12-3 just won't do on the CT side. Does leave them almost no buffer room for the loss of the pistol. As Ye holds it up. He's got a lot of company here. He'll try and challenge, but can't control the spray mat, and the retake has to begin. Shazam smoked off, waiting for them to push further down towards that upper ramp. And Stewie smoking off, and this could be it.
They need the anchor players to at least get 1 kill. Unfortunately, he's been so sharp, all things considered. Couldn't do much. Bomber again is planted. Hit for Android, kit for Def. Stewie's going to get a little more aggressive. Def actually finds Fur. That's going to give him a bit more of a chance to get back inside of the site as Stewie waits to swing, but no swinging will be done as Android steps in and says that's enough. Gets them a walk. This ball, look at Cold's position, body block, running through. Android able to trade it off. Tarek's gone for the flank. That puts him away from the default position, but never mind that. Smoke's still on it. It's going to extinguish. They can actually hold this. He needs to get around. He can't do it. Complexity gets there for it.
Might not be a lot, but it's enough. Complexity do take the final round there, 11-4. At least gives them a little bit of breathing room here. They can win the pistol. There's no reason why they can't dish out equal treatment in the second half. Not the best start for them here on the big stage. Like I said, it's a best of 3. MIBR look lethal. Very similar to the Na'Vi big game. Just individually, MIBR just look heads and shoulders above Complexity right now. There is a shining light though. Ye is keeping up with them in the fragging department. He won a big clutch before, came very close to a second. And if they can win this pistol, there is a slight chance they can pull this one back. MIBR 11, Complexity 4 as we swap things over. But the bad news is Complexity now on the T side. They have to win this. There's no two ways about it. It should be an inside play again, but they have got 2 smokes. Suggest they could go towards outside as well. The Molotov for post plant or towards that connector as we start to look at the approach from MIBR. They're going to play a very standard round as well. Nothing too aggressive from them. coldzera looking towards Ivy and Stewie holds in connector. Watching inside with Fur.
Good shot over top of the smoke, finds depth. Spammed it, but got it, and shot will count. Stewie's pushed back off the bomb train. Smoke's still down, he wants elevation to get above them. That's why he continues to stay on top of it rather than giving up the position. Terra can't find a shot to deny the plant. Stewie thought he could get down there again. Thor's just nailed 2 more. Tarek as well. This is just insane. MIBR's accuracy showing once again. It's going to be their round. They go 12-4. You said it, Henry. This is almost the end of it for Complexity.
Yeah, if you don't win that round, I'm sorry, I can't romanticize the storyline anymore and inject any more jeopardy in towards the situation because it looks like Complexity might be out of this one. It's going to take maybe even a force buy in the second, or they hold their breath and go for the third. It looks like it's the latter. They're going for AKs in the third. So that gives away another round here. It's going to be 13-4 to kick things off very early in the second half. MIBR surprisingly get 2 MP9s here, but to be fair, players like Fur seem to excel with that particular weapon in any situation, so that's fine. PD50s and Complexity looking to get that bomb down. That's pretty much the only objective here. It'd be very common for them to go inside like this because you can trade out kills, and even if 4 players go down, he can still sneak a plant in. So that's what they'll go for here. Stewie knows it. That's why he has the SMG. He wants to battle up front and not be far back and allow the plant. He wants to do as much damage as he can. We've seen him do quite well holding B-bomb sites with an MP9 before. Let's see if he can do it again.
Incendiary thrown just as soon as he spotted anyone at all. Nade through, trying to do any damage that he can. That is a lot of damage for 1 grenade. Certainly softens them up for that SMG to capitalize. Certainly without armor, it shouldn't be a hard task. There he goes. Straightforward. Thought he was actually going to be a crazy. He did damage on the way down. As he fell inside of the site, he is committing to the bomb plant, and that is the right decision, but the wrong timing as the nade comes through and Fur takes him out.
Touchdown with the HE, but you can see exactly how I built it up. Even if everyone goes down, there's a chance of getting that plant. Unfortunately for Cole, didn't work out, but they still have the AKs here. 13-4 down, and he can bring the AKs out early by history, getting it done. Denying the plant the best he could. Goes down eventually, but it was enough. Great little grenade there, just to stop the A plants and the bomb. So no tactical time I hear, I will say that. But MIBR with the AWP in the hands of Fallen, they still have an MP9 for coldzera, but if you play it correctly, that's still fine. Really last chance here for Complexity. Don't win this round, I'm afraid it will be GG for Trade, and we'll move on to Inferno pretty much. coldzera now playing by the server, dropping down together to hopefully trade out a killer Pop Dog. No one there to receive though. Stewie has full control of inside by himself with the M4. Fur will be backing him up. Could fall back if Stewie finds an opening pick.
I go for the server boost at this point, considering there's smokes down rather than putting Fallen up above the op and leave that susceptible to close range combat. He's in to find depth. Stewie flashed from above through the skylight, and although it didn't fully catch Android, he certainly does win the battle on the M4.
Stewie's got that kill. He threw an incendiary at the steps. He then threw a smoke at his feet. He made sure there was no chance they took him down in response. Maintains the 5-on-3 even with 12 points of health. Controls inside now, knowing they won't come back there. 4 players outside from MIBR. This is looking perfect from them. Great mid-round calls, great decision making, and it's applying the pressure to Complexity. You can see they can't handle it.
Straightforward to cover off. Ivy all missing a shot makes it interesting given the smoke. Tarek makes up for it, finds Stanislaus. Shazam! Blindly Not blind in terms of a flash, but blindly toward the site and gets caught off by Cold, who then finds Ye. It's 2 to go for Mibr.
What a call, Matt, to boost on the server as well. Def, we saw it from his POV, he was waiting for the boost. He knows what that smoke means, but even up against the MP9, coldzera comes out on top, finds an AK-47 to end off the round. 3 AKs now, and it has to be the force buy. 14-4 complexity. Already clutching at straws as we head into round number 19. It looks like we're just going through the formalities at this point, as they look way too comfortable. This is reminiscent of SK Gaming in their prime on train, just looking indomitable, just every single round going in their favor. And now just pistols for the North Americans as Fallen holds towards that connector. Looks like a very default round. I'd assume some sort of execution. Indeed, they are lining up smokes now. You want to go for the wall of smokes here, try and get the bomb down and push as close as you can with those CZs and try and punish.
If the pistols find anything. Forward stance, though, inside of the smokes. As Cold, recognizing it, they're coming over. In fact, goes further up. This is a great reaction from Mibr. Tarek straight to the wall. Bomb down. You can watch off both. Yep, bomb goes down. coldzera says, right, if you're going further up, so am I. Smokes in. We know exactly how to play against this. They've seen it too many times. Such wisdom and experience. The only defending champions left in this event on the squad. Of course, Tarek and Stewie coming over from Cloud9, who didn't make it through the group stage, or at least a legend stage, I should say, this time. Tarek tries to come back in and avenge his teammate. He will successfully do so. It's map point already for Mibr.
Too strong, I'm afraid. Through the smoke, the incendiary kills. They didn't even get close to finding a frag there. As we go map point here. Mibr 15, complexity 4. Galil, Scout, CZs. They now need 11 rounds in a row just to force overtime. I think we know which way this one's going. Complexity, though, remember, best of 3. This is fine. This is Mibr's pick. We move to Inferno next, where Mibr, for me, I feel like they look weak on it at times. It's one of the as Tarek comes in with a double frag, that's pretty much going to be the final nail in the train coffin, at least, as it looks like another clean sweep coming through. And I have to say, the amount of clean sweeps Mibr have had in this particular map has been absolutely insane. I haven't seen anything like it. As Def with the Scout versus 1, they could even go for the knife there, getting his heads. As he'll get a frag here, not completely over, gets another one. There is a chance here, but he will go down eventually. Ladies and gentlemen, 16-4 in favor of Mibr. Perfect from them on train. Can't really fault them in any department whatsoever.
Yeah, just like Big, this is a wake-up call of playing on the stage against such an experienced lineup, and Mibr take their map convincingly, showcasing why they truly are former world champions. Again, the only roster, believe it or not, that has 5 former champions, former Legends champions on it. Of course, didn't win it together, but either way, pretty impressive. It is Inferno next. That has been Complexity's calling card in this event.
It really has. A lot of people said they couldn't play anything else but Inferno, but if they can, this is a chance.
Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling. Started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity, so I could see how you react, how you'd react to me. So much differently, I am different. Every time that I look back, I see my fortune. Would you react to me? We are reacting so much differently. Doubted all that I could do, knowing what I need to do. All I can say, the word is thank you. I think it's what you need to push away from the shore, amongst the waves. Exactly where I wanna be. I am where I wanna be. Remember the start, when my future needed clarity. Yes, I needed clarity, so I could see how you'd react, how you'd react to me. So much differently, 'cause I am different to you. Every time that I look back, I see my fortune. Would you react to me? We are reacting so much differently. get to see you. Take me back to the planet where you and I are still meant to be. 'Cause I never go when you next to me.
History either way, but they absolutely want to put on a much better performance. We already saw Big fall very flat in the first quarterfinal. It would be a shame to see the same again now.
Now, I'm going to say this game should be a lot more competitive, but the guys on the desk made a very good point. The fact that Complexity played this 3 out of... all the time to particular map, and they're going to have to really kind of think outside the box and how they're going to change things up. It looks like MIBR will start on the CT side as well. That is not good news to Complexity. They're just licking their wounds still from trade here.
Absolutely, and that's the thing with the best of 3. They pick the map, they get this.
Three players here for Complexity. They have one smoke. If they are committing towards B, that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. You've got that smoke for CT spawn. You've got nothing for the coffins there. But Stewie will be playing towards new boxes. Smoke towards the A side of the map just to pull some attention over. A decoy as well. So there you go. Still got the smoke. It's just a decoy thrown over. 5 players coming in now. They'll smoke spawn, double flash, and need to segregate Fallen and focus on Stewie 2K.
And this is anticipation by coldzera. They've not had any contact toward that boiler position with 2 players playing that far forward. They start the rotation early, and they're going to go for the flank. This is full commitment from Complexity. No other options. And from straight above, coldzera fires directly down. They got blocked inside of the smoke, and Cold gets 4 on the pistol.
It's gone from bad to worse. Another clean sweep for Mibr. You can see Complexity just falling apart at the seams here, going through the smoke. That was their idea, but they met the stack. That's going to be so disheartening for them. They picked up this pistol, man. They think, oh, this is our map. We can do this now. A T-side pistol in the bag. But they get nothing. Not even a single kill. No damage inflicted. They look foolish as they go through the smoke there. And coldzera happier than ever. He is the catalyst for Mibr on their CT side of Inferno and their T side, to be fair. He's going to step up. He's already shown how strong he's looking today. And now the force fight has to come in from Complexity. They can steal this round back. They'll also steal the momentum. But it's still going to be very difficult to map like Inferno. They've still got a couple of Molotovs here and some basic control coming through as Stan gets in towards those apartments, but Fallen full banana control now, and at this point could even be left alone, but he'll be baited in by Stewie 2K, who plays the car. So Stewie has the MP9, he's holding up there suggesting, I've only got the MP9, there's going to be information, I'm going to fall back. Then they hopefully run past Fallen, and he gets a big straight out, looking at him, and he gets 2. That's enough because now Stewie can hold the bomb side, doesn't have to challenge anymore. Wait for the rotations.
Down to 56, Stewie retreats, gets on top of Orange's 1. Well to get to, considering, and with that angle, pretty easy to find a headshot on Android. Bomb flies forward, and although they recover it, there's really nowhere to go. Look how blind they are. Def just staring into a corner. Oh,
teabags.
Stewie.
He's just getting stuck in an English culture, you know, a cup of tea, that's what he's going for.
Having it with an English guy in that
exactly.
case.
That's exactly what he's going for. Nothing rude there, I don't think. So either way, it is going to be round number 3. Another gimme, I have to say, for Mibr. As Complexity didn't manage to really get anything done in their first 2 rounds. They have 1 kill to their name so far, as we will see the 3-0 be realized in very quick fashion, I'd imagine. This is looking bleak now. Remember, Complexity played this map so much in the opening sector of the major. They went 3 times with Inferno. They had to be tested in the second stage with a couple of other maps, but Inferno was their calling card and started to turn heads. How good the teamwork was. As Stewie applying the pressure out towards T-steps. Not a huge deal if he goes down. He keeps the MP9. It's a nice bonus. Another clean sweep, and this is actually getting a little bit out of control. They're not applying any pressure. So 2 MP9s are for mass, but Complexity will have the AKs now. I'm almost certain they won't have an AWP on the T side of Inferno just yet. You can see it's looking quite flat in the Complexity camp right now. As we'll head into round number 4. Will there be aggression once again from the CTs? There's MP9s in the hands of Tarek and Fallen. Fallen usually playing towards B with Stewie. Maybe he wants to get down towards those logs once again. Big round here for Complexity. They can pull this one off and start to break the money of the CTs as a chance, but they go down 5-0 again. I feel like they might be out of here. We'll see. Haven't convinced me yet. When the star players get 9 frags between them, Stan and Shazam, that is, that's just not going to be good enough.
It's absolutely not good enough. Not on a stage like this, not at any event, let alone a major.
I'd say, like, if Shazam got 9 frags in train, I'd say that was poor, but he got 3. And he's supposed to be the main AWP player, and that's an AWP-centric occasion that might have completely destroyed his confidence. But we'll see. Holding towards the car position once again. They do check it this time, so that's better than nothing. Much better, as Def gets the second as well. For coldzera, he'll be dropped.
First time, oh, the lineup though, Tarek steals it back.
No way.
It did look very good. First time that the duel, when they've walked out in that occasion, has gone the way of Complexity. And great read from Def. He knew that they were going to get re-peaked. If Stewie was going to take them in, he was going to try and trade off of it. Def still doing fantastic work. Will take Fur down as well. But that lineup gives them the bomb. Tarek able to collect 2, smokes himself off as well. That gives him transfer along the top of the mid wall.
Yeah,
new position to work with.
Bombs in boiler room right now, so that's why he wants to smoke. He's not looking for a gap. He's just trying to run that clock down as much as possible. It's going to take them another 15 seconds or so to pick that up and work out what their next move is. At that stage, Matt, they can't go towards B anymore. They have to commit towards A, and Tarek knows that. So keep your eye on the clock and realize now that he knows exactly where they have to go, and they both go towards boiler. This could be a little bit of an awkward moment for them because they're going to have to commit and walk out. doesn't nail the first shot cleanly, but he does get it in the end. 10 seconds remaining. Depp has to go for him. Clock running down. He will make his way towards Garbage, and that's the kill he needed. 4 for Depp in the round. He isn't going down without a fight here. Very, very close to Tarek. Perfectly played to bring it down to the 1 versus 1. But Depp applied the pressure. And that should have been a much cleaner one for Complexity in general. Is that play from Tarek towards Boiler that made things very awkward
just
indeed.
To point out, there's 6 kills total from Complexity. They just won the last round on kills. That means it was 5. 4 of them from Depp. That's how slow they are to get into this game. But he was assertive in that round, and he absolutely made it work toward Banana. More importantly, to read that Stewie was to repeak. Good play to take Tarek.
Remember, though, that's the bonus round from MRBR. They had 2 SMGs going into that one, and a FAMAS. Now they come out with 2 AWPs, 3 M4s, and all the utility required. Complexity, a very different story. Galil, 2 UMPs, backs to the wall here. What can they really do without the firepower? They'll have to go for the default and hope some aggressive play comes from the CTs, and hopefully the AKs can find the initial kills. But Fallen, it's so strong at the B bomb side. Do you even dare challenge this corner? Does someone try and pre-fire him here? Time will tell, but they have B control at least. Has to be an execution play for me. They can't just run a default and hopefully take down the jewels, because they will be taken down by the superior firepower and weaponry of MRBR. There's the first kill. Ye is dropped, and Fallen once again can fall back to more defensive line. His job is done.
And they've discouraged Complexity entirely from trying to take over the banana position. Rotations go back toward middle. They've had androids sitting inside of the apartments the entire time. 49 seconds. Further utility used by Cold. Incendiary to hold off the apartments. That doesn't last as long as a smoke would, so he still has pressure heading his way. Shoulder feed from Death. Too slow on the second one, I'm afraid. Cold never even bought it. Never even... Good play, though, toward Arch. Tarek's in the open. If he wraps faster, it doesn't even matter. Shazam's going to get him down. They know Cold's inside. Smoke still in front of Library. Good read. Good take. Ball needs to get in position. It's caught. Fallen has it. 23 seconds. They can just barely recover it. Android makes a run for it and gets away, knowing that Fallen had to reset. And incendiaries go in crisscross fashion. It doesn't quite reach Android. It bounced away. Smoke has a massive gap. That funnels them toward the wall, mind you. HP is so low as well on the Complexity side. They backed off to go for the bounce flash in through. That allows Stewie a little bit closer on the M4. Still looking, spots Android, but not before his head gets taken off, and Fallen on an op. Make it at least expensive, perhaps, as he can keep them both near enough to the bomb. He has a kit to work with, but Mr. Shot on the AWP, he's going to have to back out. It's 2 in a row for Complexity.
Well, there we go. That's more like it from Complexity. They lose the first 2 kills, but still believed in the fact that he gets towards the quad. As soon as he inside the Cold Zera has the AWP, bait out the shots from him and make sure you can punish with those SMGs, get them as close as possible. Much better. And they might have actually got themselves in a situation where MRBR are going to be on an eco here. Android, for me, MVP of that round. This shot summarized it perfectly. Low HP, had to position correctly there and play around the bomb with his teammate, and he does a very good job there. And it doesn't look like MRBR are going to buy, so they might be able to tie things up here at 3-3. Remember, this is their pick. It was looking so bad from there. It was a full reset round as well, but they managed to win it. This time got the 5 AKs up against pistols, though, of MIBR. And that's still not necessarily good news, because the Deagles of the Brazilians can be absolutely deadly. But Shazam looking sharper now as he peeks out from the underpass and takes out the orb from Fallen.
Yeah, the op does get grabbed. Cold will have it, and he's rotated with it. He catches out Android. They now know that. But again, Cold, excuse me, sir, will get by his teammate and continue to try and be dynamic. He needs to be in this situation. Back to a 4-on-4. They'll funnel themselves toward the banana position. Single player inside of the site. That's Stewie, and forget the fact that he was going to try and hold his back to the smoke and wait for flashes. He just gets obliterated through it by Ye. Should, all things considered, be another round. So long as Cole can't find a shot on this op, careful not to give anything up.
This will be Tarek holding onto the AK now, and Spur with the CZ protecting the AWP of Cold Zera. But Complexity looks like they're in this map now. They're not going to get ran over. They can actually be competitive here as 4 players survive once again. Only Android goes down. 3-3 confirmed. That is making sure no one gets close to the bomb here. And Cold Zera locking them in from CT spawn. He wants to make sure if anyone decides to hunt for exit kills here, he's ready and waiting and will punish. They should be exiting through the banana here. No reason to go through CT spawn at all. As he holds up, looks like no one will be coming his way whatsoever. They go back towards the T-spawn area. It's going to be 3-3 indeed. The first signs of life we've seen from Complexity here. It's their map pick. It was looking very bleak to begin with, but this is much better. 3 rounds in a row. But remember, MIBR could have bought that round. They could have forced it out. They've already got a map lead. They know the last round was a bit of an anomaly. They had a 5 versus 3 that slipped away. They don't have to force buy here. It's very early on. It's 3-3 from the CT side. They've now got the AWP saved over, the AK in the hands of Stewie, and they go back to business as usual now in round number 7.
And we talked about this as well during the group stage, that when you get into best of 3s, you make different decisions with your money because you have a little more time. You can take a little more risk, but also in this case, as you say, MIBR has a map lead. There's not as much pressure. He starts to clear out Banana. Molotov down. They'll counter those off. He's expectingly extinguished one of which that was thrown halfway down, so they could actually take some control. I say that, and at the same time, there's a bit more aggression from both Fallen and Stewie. Meanwhile, back over toward the A side. Heavy bias toward the pit side, specifically in the apartments. Fallen knows they're toward that wall, and I was thinking he might try exactly that to fire through. Didn't quite get the lineup correct toward EA. He's forced all the way back to CT, excuse me. So there is Banana control established. Bomb is still down toward T, so this is all about map control at this point for Complexity. They'll grab that now with a minute to go in the round. There's only 2 defensive nades left on the MIBR side. 2 smokes, one for Furt, one for Fallen. That's one on either side.
And they're holding the crossfires here on the A side. Tarek and coldzera. Rifles available, but they've given up a lot of middle here and the apartments. They're certainly feeling a little bit uncomfortable here. coldzera is trying to reclaim territory. Boosted up, good smoke by him. That should buy them some time and funnel them towards the arch almost, as Def has to go in that direction. They can't go through CT spawn per se with the smokes down there, and waiting for his chance to strike.
Depending on this timing, this could be good for 2. Because if they go in that close together, I don't think Shazam's able to respond. He certainly gets taken down the feet. Great idea to run boost onto the atrium. Unfortunately, it's the one position that easily countered it. Great trade in the corner. Bomb is left that far inside of the site. Fortunately, they've already crossed over to grab that before Fallen was ready to read them like a book from library. As Def flashes back in that direction, Fallen forced off the angle. That gives him a bit of more room to maneuver. Deep inside the corner, he wants them to fully commit, but instead they head the other direction. They'll wrap around. That leaves Def little to work with if they get that far. Android now becomes the best defense.
Tony on the bike right now, great angle, but Stewie's already made it towards the hay bales here. This could be a little problematic. His teammate might drop him, but Stewie can't find the track just yet. A really awkward duel on the bottom side, but Def will come out on top as Android closes the door on MIBR. This is looking very good for them now in Inferno. They're not done just yet. Train was a battering, but now Complexity lead 4-3, and looks like they shut down the money. Not quite to MIBR, but it's on the cusp. They might have one more buy available, but coldzera, he couldn't do enough there. And Def manages to find the all-important kill on Stewie 2K and really finish things off. Will they buy up here, MIBR?
And finally they get some aim to go with it, because Android actually almost cost Def his life by letting Stewie get that far inside of the site. He wasn't quite ready for him to go by. You could see he even panic sprayed toward the box.
Absolutely. There we have it. It will be a tactical timeout from MIBR. They're not going to buy this round by the looks of things. They're going to have to let this one slip by. They have the 3-0 start, and now it's 4 rounds in a row for the North Americans. So we are going to have a partial buy, though, I will say that much. It might be all with the Deagles, the CZs. They've got smokes. They can treat this like a usual gun round, but Complexity looking like a unit once again. It looks like they can be dangerous. Inferno's being a lot more forgiving as they manage to make their way towards the A side. It's looking good on the trades. They're not demonstrating the craziest strategies. There's good fundamentals in the teamwork. The trades are there. They're making sure they're pushing together and time out the smokes, and like you said, run boost and deny that double kill from Fur. That was a nice little adaptation there they had to make. If Fur gets 2 there, it's over, but they managed to fight 2 for Nail to find a kill. Can they extend their lead here to 5 plays 3? Smokes down on the roof. That wasn't ideal, but still fine. As they have got the banana control, boosting a player up on the half wall. That's Shazam. SMG at the front. Throw him in first to ascertain whether there's a stack on this side of the map. Doesn't have to go in, of course, but they want to just sniff out the situation on the other side of the map here. That wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. He's going to hold there by himself and does this with rotations and challenge any pushes as his teammates go for a contact play. You don't want to queue too much. That's not great from Stan. He wanted to flush out the garbage area. Luckily no one's there, so it wasn't a huge deal, but they don't know that. They can actually go back towards B.
Shazam still in position toward the top of Banana. They've got smokes at the ready. Just making sure that there's no one on the flank, but this is heading toward 2 pistols, well positioned, high above, and Fur easily takes down Shazam. Counter Molotov holds them off. Mibr steps inside of it, wants the off angle, but just barely with a chance shot, able to find him. Meanwhile, Ye is holding the flank. He now goes on one, tries to hold off the arch as the bomb comes back in toward it. How can they get onto the site? 20 seconds. They've got to be careful. They're in the middle of 3 players right now. Deathly crossfire to be in, even though it's just pistols for exactly that reason. Cole holding inside of the site, drops the bomb. 12 seconds. They just barely get the kills required to make up for it.
A little bit dicey there, but it looks like Complexity still win the round. Stewie, 2 versus 1, and so far removed from the situation. He'll be towards top middle right now. Has found the AK-47, but with no nades and no kits, it's looking very unlikely he manages to do anything with this one. But the bomb has only gone down a few seconds ago. So he'll at least explore his options to look for any mistakes here as he finds the player towards the graveyard. Needed the insta-kill there. Not going to be able to take care of business, I don't think. Save at this point. Completely flashed. Got Ye down to 2 HP. At this point, locked him in the bomb site as he just tried to show a little bit more presence here. They'll fall back, knowing he can't win this at this point. They actually make it towards Arch as well. Let him keep the AK. It's absolutely fine, and he'll have to fall back, knowing they've slipped away at that point. So Stewie, as he goes down the bomb as well. That's actually quite significant. A player of his caliber with the AK is deadly.
It would have been significant as well, because it would have been an AK held, giving, I mean, they're going to have a full buy based on the fact that they saved to around 2K anyway. Could have potentially gone to a double op setup with him dropping one over and still have more utility for Tarek instead of just going on the rifle.
He still had his armor as well, so that was significant money removed with the bomb going off.
So they did, excuse me, Cold actually has it. I didn't see him already purchase that. Either way, it could have been done more efficiently. There's no question about that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, round 9 and Complexity. After what we saw on the first map, I can't believe we've got stuff to this point. Ye Molotovs himself, and with the chaotic start to round number 9, it will be Fallen to capitalize that. They tried to Molotov the car. I'm not sure if we caught it. I was looking on my screen. It was the Molotov hit by the terrorists, and now Fallen is just tearing them apart. They look a little bit flustered right at the bottom. They've lost this opener, but they have won 5 versus 3s before. This round not necessarily over, but Shazam has been tagged up as well. He's on 45 points of health.
Quick flash, Shazam with the off T side, trying to compensate for the loss. And won't commit into banana at this point, minute to go. Forget utility on the CT side. Mind you, if you want to look to trades and you want to look at isolating a site, you can bring this down to a 3-on-2 take if you get the read right. And MIBR is not ready for the rotations, and they've only got the 1 smoke still to play with, so those 2 kills are massive. MIBR knew the situation, went aggressive as a result. Fallen's rotated around, bringing it up and slowly, and they line up, they make it all too easy. I thought he might get away with 1 as they were searching inside of the site, but round all but done shortly. Shazam left with 23, they know exactly where he is. What a way to steal it back. First 5, and they keep all 5 alive.
Well, there we go.
And you want a 5th 5 on there, or a 3rd 5, excuse me? It's an ace from Fallen as well.
There you go. Fallen. I have to say, thriving in the chaos there. That Molotov at the bottom wasn't thrown by the CTs, that was thrown by the terrorists, who all got caught up, and they go down 1 by 1. You can't take anything away, though, from Fallen, who nails every single shot. He does such a good job at that beast on bomb site with the AWP, finishes things off with the AK. That is going to be Fallen's 11th frag. Is at the top of the charts right now on the server. As MIBR pull another one back, the money's still not amazing for Complexity, and he managed to keep 2 players alive in the round before. That time, of course, 0 Molotov deployed now as they look for full banana control once again. Fallen looking to get on their half wall. Such a cool little play from them as they don't do a perfect job this time. They'll probably slow down a little bit, but here we go once again. Fallen gets back up on the half wall, boosted by Stewie. And now CT's looking to fall back to that crossfire once again. Very fast from Complexity.
Tarek was spotted. His shoulder just slightly extending beyond the wall when the flash came in, so he posted and ready. Fortunately, no one able to spot him from inside of the site while he did so. Bomb goes down. It sits to the man advantage on the Complexity side. Now, remember, this is a reset, but we did mention it for good reason. 5 players stayed alive. It's still CT side. But if they can save these weapons, they'll be able to force out guns for their other 2 teammates, or rather, charitably give them away, shall we say.
Well, there we go. MIBR get nothing done at A whatsoever. It was a little bit awkward with the boost to start towards B, and then a fast approach from Complexity. They've done that strategy before, but after a long, slow, arduous default. This time, right at the beginning of the round, trying to catch them off guard, and you could see MIBR just weren't ready for that attack out of the apartments. Tarek and Fer go down with absolutely nothing inflicted. That's going to be bomb planted early and a full save, considering of the double save. Sure, it can be fantastic in some situations, but can also be detrimental as well. Stewie will take down Shazam. maybe get another one here with the wallbang attempt. Not quite. It will be 6-4. Complexity looking much better here. Remember, they lost the pistol as well. They're doing fantastically on their T side of Inferno. It's their map pick looking to take us to a third.
Yeah, it certainly is home territory. We said it, their calling card at this event. 3 wins on it to get them in or on to this stage. 9-4 against arguably their toughest opposition as of yet. Fur, aggressive to mid. Can go with the nade. I thought he would go for the straight jump perhaps and try and get across. They haven't exactly been relying on the T side of AWP. They had it for Shazam the round that they got aced. Didn't do much for them, obviously, as Fallen tries to get back on the exact wall that started that play.
He doesn't necessarily stand on the wall. He's actually happy to be on Stewie's head. It's a lot safer to get up there, and it's still the same viewing angle, and he has backup and anyone clumps. A lot of sense.
Oh, wow.
So does that spam, as Cold Zero goes down to 16, still holding his ground here. They seem to suspect Death could be in towards the logs. Tries a pre-fire. Activity tested, looking for another double spray down in the same position.
These are not going to happen. These off angles that they're holding on the MIBR side. Complexity is expecting to wide peak with 2 players, and they keep getting caught in the lineup as a result. That's almost the 3rd time this game they had a 2-man spray down, if you include, I guess, the AWP from Fallen as a spray down. 4-on-4, they head back the other direction. They have the HP advantage again. Cold, you mentioned it. He held his ground despite being tagged so severely, but he has an AWP, so that 16 may not be to his detriment so long as position favors him. Fallen, timing on a flash and smoke, is forced off the angle, couldn't sneak back out to where he found some success last time, but he's got balls of steel to push through the smoke, couldn't find the shot. Stewie's going to follow in his footsteps, I thought. That's ill-advised with no further utility to palm plant Complexity.
They're going to have to save again. That was Fallen's last-ditch attempt to actually try and make something happen. Complexity are up for this now. They're not going to roll over like they did on Train. They're going to extend their lead. 7-4. This is exactly what I was anticipating. I didn't think they stood a chance on Train, but they definitely can sink their teeth into Inferno. It's what they've been practicing the most. It's what they've got the most experience on LAN as well. Inferno's their map, and MIBR, for me, have always looked pretty weak on it. They either look horribly flat or Cold Zero carries them through on their T side and manages to win clutch after clutch. So I was actually quite interested with the veto as it came through. MIBR will have to save again, knowing that Fallen goes down, gives up that orb. Death now has it for presumably Shazam in the next round. Everybody's looking great on the team now, and as they keep extending their lead, it's currently 7-4. Only 1 round picked up in the last 8 for MIBR there.
Significant. So this time they will have the op. Shazam gets it. Very forward spawn. I know that's not really that much of a note on Inferno.
On these sort of rounds, it could be.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
It's situational, but it's worth mentioning because they have to be so aggressive on the MIBR side, given the economy, given that they really need to get back into this game. Shazam already posting at middle, though, so there's no way you beat that spawn to that position.
Nothing too flashy from Complexity here. It's just great fundamentals. Trading, for me, has been the most successful part of their game plan as they're going in with numbers, biding their time until the opportunity arises, and making sure anyone who goes down is instantly answered back.
That nade strike somehow gets away from the A. That could have been hit down, but the contest from MIBR, relentless pressure. It's starting to become the point, or at least the focal point of every single round, is that banana contest to try and get map control, and it pays off massively for MIBR's Android. Held at bay once more by a Tarek Molotov. Sneak out as soon as it extinguishes. Not yet any attention from because they don't suspect his arrival as yet. Tarek's still watching it, though. Does push him back. Dink through the edge of the balcony, leaves him on 67. Look at Stewie, pushed all the way down, and this is smart as well. Does not need to go any further, does not need to overextend, gets information, actually elects to take the shot. I thought he might just sit there and contain them, could relay that quite quickly to his teammates, but either way they make do on it. Cole pops out.
No problems at all here for MIBR. Android left to try and cause some financial damage. Maybe good for one, not quite. Zera and Stewie 2K getting it done with the aggression at the start.
Significant to note, you did say that they had 1 round in the last 8, but now of the 2 rounds they've had, as they just pick up a second one, they've kept all 5 players alive in both of them, so they are giving themselves a chance with money in this.
They're just being very smart with their decisions, and Cold Zero has brought out a Zeus. I think he spotted there, so why not? It's cheap. Keep it out. And there will be another double orb situation from RBR here as Shazam. Currently, again, another poor showing by him. I don't want to call out bad stats consistently, but Shazam, the star player in the squad, 2 and 10. They've got 7 rounds on the board where he's just had no impact at all.
And that's where I said they weren't really relying on that off on the T side, but he's trying to get to it because he needs to rely on it. He's got to find a way to bring himself back into relevancy. Stewie takes down Depth. Again, it's MIBR starting to really take the bull by the horns inside of Banana. Fallen back up on top of the wall this time. Deep smoke, he'll anchor, early rotation, hoping that they can influence Complexity to look elsewhere on the map. They do have a player inside of the boiler door. Stan's made it that far at the very least. They'll slow things down this time. Fallen has to be ready to act on this. Staring at the wall, he'll play off sound cues.
Yeah, he's waiting for that flash to go off. Go for one, drop down. But a lot of people know this is how he plays. He needs to be careful here, but nails the shot, of course. He targets perfection. It's injury as well.
I wouldn't mind seeing more of his POV on that, because I think the angle he was playing, he could still, as long as he's not 4x3, but on his settings, could still see actually their legs, but was ready to look from the flash. He was kind of preparing for both eventualities, and it pays off.
Well, looking much better here. Mibr. I think for their 6th round, I think it's guaranteed at this point. The orbs, the double orbs, have been sensational, and that's no different. Fer calm as he finishes off round number 13 there. They're looking to win the half at this point. The money might be broken for Complexity.
3rd gun round, they win it with 5 alive. All the gun rounds that they've won on the Mibr side, it's perfect every time. Super efficient.
So sick from Fallen. Great timing. Knew he was safe, and then this was pretty stellar from Fer as well. Round 14 has to be the eco for last round, I think.
Also suggests, by the way, that every round that they've won and they've had the man advantage, you're seeing Complexity struggle to take ground back in the mid-round against Mibr in these situations. They're really, once they lose Banana, they lose map control, they're really struggling to pull themselves out from it. And you're right, they have broken down the economy, so 7-7 seems likely. Eagle in hand really gives them the only range that's with death.
I have to say as well, it's the rookies that have really been standout players with Complexity so far. Ye especially throughout this tournament, fantastic. He's had some massive moments here in the quarterfinals. Andrew is currently at the top. He played very well on the A side, been influential with death in the trades. It's Stan and Shazam. Again, 6 frags between them, had 9 between them on train. Still got a half to go, and enough rounds already on the T side, so still plenty of time to react here. Spotting them towards Banana, that's Fallen. He hits Death through the wall and drops the incendiary once again and sends them packing towards the A side. They'll have to fall back, and they've got no grenades, no armor. It doesn't really matter they remove grenades from the CT side now. We've got the last round coming up. They're hoping to get a plan out of this, or at least an opening pick with this Deagle. The Cold Zero, a bit of an off angle here on the corner, waiting for the first kill to come in. Spots him up, guarantees the kill, and he's still baiting his teammate there who's waiting with him on the quad. That's going to be Tarek in the boiler.
Slaughter. Actually hits the 4th one that was back on Shazam, and then Yik gets the response, but Tarek easily swings in, cleans up. Tie game going in around 15. Complexity still in a good position as a result of that. Remember, T side of Inferno.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mibr starting to show some life again, and it's convincing at that.
Yeah, this is a great half of Complexity. The fact you get 7 rounds on the T side of Inferno, anything else at this point is a bonus. This is very convincing. Happy to see them performing here, and at least test Mibr. Just to know, Cold Zero, 15 kills, 4 deaths. He has been a beast once again. Fallen 13. As we enter the final round of the first half, bare bones utility for Complexity. The defaults have been good, but they've been losing this challenge towards B at the start of each round. I think they've just given in now and stopped challenging at the very start and going for a contact play towards middle. 4 players there right now. Stanislaw with the bomb, holding towards B, just throws a flashbang, and they know they can get this mid control. They've tested it out enough now. Surely goes down at this point. Smoke will remove him from the situation. Good grenade as they start to wrap towards the sites.
Cover off the apartment's great trade from Shazam. This time it's on the AK, just to make note, as he has struggled to find kills. Ye certainly not. Finds another great headshot. Running through is Stewie, though. He'll find Death. That takes down any control they had toward the archway and leaves Shazam in another dire situation. Ye was directly over top of his shoulder and able to babysit the bomb plant, but that leaves him, and they will know that it was not him planting it, on the site as well. Surprisingly, not a further rotation, or faster one, I should say, from Fer to try and pincer them in, hold them off, and Fallen now smoked means that Fer has to effectively do this alone. He's been undetected. Both players from Complexity staring in the direction where Fallen now makes noise, switches to the AK, and that noise should steal the attention away. Shazam's not looking. This could be the exact time Fer strikes, and it should be easy to find. Attention continues to look the other direction. The duel elsewhere, and he finally pulls around back. Finally, it's going to be Complexity to win out a one-on-one clutch. 3 kills for Shazam leaves him with a total of 5 nonetheless. pass. 8-7 complexity.
All is forgiven though, Mab. He has that sort of impact to actually win them the half and get 8 on the board. Doesn't matter how many frags he got. That was absolutely massive. Around it looked like they were done for as well. Shazam will find some confidence towards the end. 8-7 complexity going into the second half of the lead after losing the pistol. That's 3 out of 3 pistols for MIBR. If complexity can win this one, we might be going to a third. Still a lot of work to do here. One of the most tenacious teams in the game right now. MIBR are trading by 1 round, but win this pistol, you know they can get right back into it. We'll look at the buys right now as Yanko deliberates with the team. What kind of tactic are they going to be deploying at this point? They've got 2 smokes, a Molotov, and a couple of flashbangs. So they could go towards the banana area, but we'll see how it works out for them.
3 out of 3 pistols have gone the way of MIBR, and they've been pretty solid ones at that, including the first half of Inferno, where Cold got 4 kills without being touched or tainted in the slightest on top of the boost. So that's been a problem, and something Complexity certainly needs to address.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Complexity 8, MIBR 7. If Complexity can pick this one up, we might just have a third map on our hands. Stewie and Fallen with the bomb, holding towards T-Step. Stewie goes a little bit further, and yay, been sensational on Inferno so far. Really enjoyed some of its smart decision-making and great positioning so far on Inferno, guaranteeing rounds with his play. Fur making his way through the apartments. This is not going to be the B-side approach, and without the ATs of the star, it's difficult to justify a fast speed play, but they can certainly rotate slowly back into a position where this is actually looking quite likely for them. With the Molotov, presumably used towards new boxes, smoke a coffin, smoke CT spawn, flash over, and eradicate the risk with the Molotov. You don't have to look at new boxes at that point. They can just focus towards oranges and indeed the shadow position. So let's see what happens here as 5 players start to come in. We know where the smokes are going. Molotov for me should be new boxes, but could go towards Emo as well. That background position definitely can be thrown, but this looks like new boxes. So Conjo are keeping it pretty standard. And there's the Molotov deployed, and Death will actually have it extinguished for him, so they can still fight.
But they know he had to pick up on his left side. They cover that off. He's going to find Stan again. It's going the same way. Finally, a response, but he's completely surrounded. Nowhere to hide for Shazam. No prayer could save him inside of the chapel as Terra occupies that space, and he absolutely will evict anyone coming that direction as Ye gets taken down. It's 4 for 4 MIBR.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. If you can't get a single pistol against these titans of Counter-Strike, you always got to have a rough encounter with them. The execution pretty standard there. I like the adaptation to Complexity. They had a smoke to extinguish it towards new boxes, but they were so caught up in that. By the time the smoke went down, everyone was already dead as Tarek applies the pain towards the ruins area there. So well done from MIBR. Force buy from Complexity, and one that has a lot of weight to it, as we'll see whether these CZs can cause any sort of damage here. We'll tie up again. Flashbang from Stewie as he gets his way in towards B. Securely in the logs now, but we can see Complexity will treat this like a usual gun run. They've got 4 smokes, CZ's armor, and the Eagles need to connect with some of those shots there. Have a chance here. You've got to take those opportunities if they arise and see if you can land those 1Ds. Molotov towards the corner, and you'll boost up the time to half wall there and just make sure there's no CTs close range.
Cold. Exactly that. Make sure that there isn't anyone around. Fallen now goes back. They're comfortable. They're content with their stranglehold on Banana. Men set up with 1 toward Arch is Shazam. He's not with armor. He's with the Deagle. So 2 with Android. The same setup. Stand to join, which is the right call so far. Should this continue as we at least view it on the mini-map? Everyone on MIBR over toward A. Deep sight position for Shazam doesn't really favor the Deagle at range, but Stan's got the corner covered. Great nade. Softens him up a little bit. Not quite as much as they want. Stan gets 2. CZ showing off for him yet again. Cold trades it back. That was inevitable as he went for the reload, but Ye now knows which side they're coming from. He'll swing. Remember, Shazam still sits in that corner as Cold has to hold off toward Moto. Has fallen as well. Slows the pace. He's the one with the bomb. Above him inside of the apartments is where Tarek hopes to enter from. Smoke down means he can actually jump out and join Fallen by going left. 11 seconds. Keep an eye on Fallen. 11 seconds. Has to plant the bomb. He can't. Now they have to stay alive. That's going to be a task. No, it's not. Cole's got no chance. Brown stolen back finally by Complexity.
They're going to kill him off at a time as well. That's brutal from Complexity. They bounce back. Stanislaw with the CZ, getting it done on the bomb side there. MIBR, we thought they were going to start running away with the second half, but no. Stan, who's been quiet all series, similar to Shazam in the last round of the first half, he steps up just when they need him there. And Shazam, no different with that Desert Eagle as well. Great stuff. The fact they took down coldzera after the round time expires means he gets 0 cash going forward. He gets nothing. They're going to have to force buy here and try and replicate the form of the CTs. Deagles, P250s, coldzera could not get armor. He'll just be on the pistol. Nothing else. Complexity. Aiken is awfully interesting now, Matt.
No question. Def as well through the smoke takes Stewie back. Reset in the next round. It's down to just 4. They absolutely are showing form, and this is exactly what we want to see. Bit of a home representation with Def, obviously. Really departing this event has the only chance to go through the semifinals for the UK. But they're also not just home in the event, home on the map, like we said. This would be their 4th win, I should say, on it. MIBR to approach and take down Stan. Good shot. It is a trade. He managed to get cold just before he fell. So they still maintain the man advantage.
Yeah, that's the main thing there. So Def now can reposition, knowing they've only got the pistols, probably use most of their grenades at this point. If he just holds up, he's got Shazam rotating in as well. They're looking comfortable still. I don't think MIBR can do much with this now. They've still got a smoke for CT spawn, so maybe spoken a little bit too soon here. We'll see. Shazam holding that position. That's going to be smoke for coffins there, thrown by Fallen. So he's anticipating Def to be in that position. Maybe they can focus towards spawn and try and challenge for the flag. Def, though, if he gets one, pretty much locked in. There's Shazam peeking from all the plumes, and it's looking likely that CT should close this one out now. Def almost confirming it. There's going to be no chance for a bomb run here. Fur completely flash, and Def to close things out. So remember, that's a force buy from MIBR as well. So they're going to be eco now. That's 11-8s coming in, presumably. I don't think MIBR will bring much into round number 19. There should just be Glocks, maybe some P250s, but Complexity looking at there in the driving seat now. A chance for them to farm some cash here with those SMGs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Still a long way to go. They have to keep that mentality. They can't get carried away. MIBR is a team that can pull the rounds back in their favor at any moment. So much experience in doing so. You go all the way back to the Columbus Major. Very different roster, yes, but similar scenes. Now, having said not to get too far ahead of ourselves, cash is the 3rd map, if it is required. Android, meanwhile, will back out from the apartments. No support in place. They're actually going to give up pit and play inside of the site directly. Anticipating that the pistols will run them down in that position, or they'll be isolated or not. That's up for debate, but nonetheless, that's the setup they've chosen. Shazam certainly spotted that they've run out from Blade. He's got to be careful not to overextend. Walking out from Arch, exactly that. Runs out of ammo, but does get 2 quick kills before he comes under fire. And with so much time in between that and his last kill, the rotations come over to join him. Stan gets a kill. Android, all 5 stay alive. Complexity find number 11.
They really do. Much better from Complexity here on Inferno. Looking at the more dominant team, especially in the second half. That second round of victory was absolutely everything, and MIBR will take a timeout here. Remember, there's that T side, especially in my opinion, I feel like they really do struggle on. CT's always going to be fine, but their terrorist side, they don't really have that much to bring to the table. It's usually coming down to the clutches of coldzera. We'll have a look at the frag charts while we're here. The very top, coldzera once again, 17-8. Fallen beneath, who hasn't had many kills this half, we're still early on into it with 14. Stewie 12, Tarek 12, Fur with 10. At the very top for Complexity is Def, doing a great job there in its home country, of course. 11 kills, 12 deaths for him. Shazam 10 and 14, turning his game around, actually looking deadly at this point as he warms up into the series. We get into it now. MIBR looking to answer back, but still the money is quite weak. They'll have no Molotovs in round number 20 here. They've got the AKs though. Complexity with 3 rounds in a row, holding on to their SMGs to try and farm some cash. He definitely could have upgraded a few, but they want to keep the money strong.
Second time we've seen damage through that wall. Remember it was Stewie last time. That is desperately close yet again. Fur is already inside a boiler as well. If he doesn't get back down that hallway soon, he's going to have people all over him. They'll hear them retreating as well as, yeah, you can see exactly that. Fur takes a peek and sees if they're still there, but they get away. 3-man stack toward the quad side, though. And with the SMGs, that's not a bad decision to make. Leaves them vulnerable toward Arch. Smoke on that side suggests they want to get toward the mid-wall. That would benefit Complexity if MIBR did that, thinking that they were safe in doing so based on the positioning. But keep in mind as well, we've got so much time still in the round. They haven't committed. They've backed off. They want to bait out the CT utility. One defensive grenade, two. There's an incendiary as well for Ye, but one smoke left for Def. And that incendiary is now deployed.
Still on a knife's edge here. You can see they're not playing in the bomb side, Matt. They want to be fighting for kills here towards quad. Shazam there with them. They're watching the apartment and the quad position. Android can be baited in, but the shot to Crisp there from Fallen. He takes out Android, but there's 2 more players waiting right around the corner.
Still they hold, like you say, Android down. MP9 2 UMPs. MP9 at range. That's what he actually can't find the shot before the smoke clears. That allows them the entrance onto the site. Even just one would have deterred them enough that perhaps the bomb plant becomes a little bit more vulnerable. Given the time, 6 seconds, Derek just barely gets it down. Def can't fire through. Try desperately to fire the wallbang from the altar, but Tarek holding water.
Felt like it's one of those rounds it was going to connect, but not quite. Now the post-plant situation continues. Fallen opens things up, takes out one of the key players up. Complexity, that's Ye. I don't think the CTs have much of a chance in this one now. They're just trying to contain the terrorists and make sure as many players go down as possible. But it looks like MIBR have done it, at least this particular round. Great shot from Stan there to punish Stewie. Try and remove as much cash as you possibly can. Sure, they're going to win the round, but look at the money remaining for them. Everyone fully invested here as Stan continues to put bodies in bags there. Absolutely fantastic by him. They won't win the round, but 3 survive. 3 players go down from MIBR, where there should have been at least 4 staying with them there. So he's going to keep them on a modest leash here. As this was the opening kill from Fallen. Remember, it's a 3-man stack. Great stuff by him. And Fallen gets it done with the AK-47. A lot of the AWPers are not one-trick ponies. They've got absolutely every discipline of Counter-Strike mastered. Looking for double digits now. Money's still strong for Complexity, even after reinvestment. Shazam still with 5Ks. He brings out the AWP for the first time on the CT side. You can see MIBR, how influential those kills were, though, Matt. 2 Galils now in round number 21, where 4 players should have survived, only 2.
Doesn't even matter, stays inside of it. In fact, he's standing there, not even lit ablaze. He's just barely out of harm's way. Def's going to step out. How does Fallen not collect the fall? He's just barely well. He knew he was on retreat, knew he was weak, finally takes him down, but look at what the cost is. Great start to the round for Complexity. Another reset situation. And the bomb goes scouring back down Banana over toward A, where in wait, no need to rotate, obviously, having won the exchange. Is both Android from Pit and Ye at the Arch. Peeking for information. They've got to get some. They can't sit back entirely. 2-2 essentially on take, right? You got the defense divided, so you need some information. That's what Ye's trying to attain, but doesn't want to overextend, so there you go, confirmed. We've got 1 player at the very least over toward the other side. Goes back out. Flash didn't really do much for them, though, did it? Fur collects. He's now got Arch. They know he's gone towards CT, hence the positioning for Shazam. The bomb is yet to show face. Therefore, the push down from Def and Banana should at least reveal it's back toward A. Android is going to anchor. Do not leave the pit in this situation. There's no need to do so. He's just going to wait for the time to favor him with 25 seconds to go.
He just needs 1 kill here. That will be enough. You can see his teammates so far away. There's a little bit of damage there, but gives up his position. He is alone here on the A site, taken down by Fur. This was looking so good for Complexity, but all of a sudden it starts to fall apart. Only advantage they have now is the HP one. As MIBR get themselves in the crossfire, the retake begins.
Fallen at pick, could peek out and find Def. He's not looking. If he goes now, he's a dead man surely, but Def gets one just before Fallen peeks. That reveals his position. Shazam and Fallen, each with 1 bullet from Def. Fallen has the advantage. He goes back out. Shazam walks straight into it. I have to wonder, did Android overcommit firing at the first target?
He might have done that. He absolutely could have cost him the round there. 11-10. MIBR It was looking so convincing for Complexity this round. This was a 4 versus 2. But you give them too much space here to work with, they can punish you for it. The kill couldn't be found towards that pit area, and Fallen against Shazam could have gone either way, but Fallen comes out on top. He's been fantastic so far in this quarterfinal, and it looks like the force spike coming through. Signs of weakness now for Complexity as they have to bring out the CZ, the UMP. The AWP is out for Shazam, but he hasn't looked his best so far today. A lot of pressure on his shoulders as they go for banana control here. Nades in towards Logs, no one there to receive. Using a lot of utility at the very start. I'm not going to get a kill from it. Shazam there with them. Might decide to fall back here. The AWP not looking too good for opportunities at the very start, at least. Ye and Android alone on the A site. Whoever wins this round sends their opposition to an eco. If it's Complexity, it might be enough to close out this game if it's a convincing one. If MIBR can do it, though, it's 11-11. Money broken for Complexity. They're getting closer and closer to 2-0. The absolute tipping point of the map is right now.
Tons of utility. Shazam fires into it immediately, hoping he'd collect. He cannot. Smoke down will delay them. That one certainly did connect, you're right. 38 HP left for Stewie. All of that utility. And it's back the other way. No rotation sold on that either. Shazam kept a watchful eye in toward the apartments. They don't have a lot of range, but Ye wants to sneak up. He's dinked. Tarek doesn't need to play this. They have to swing together. They do. Android somehow manages to get the shot on Tarek, even though Ye was really left with no one to go. That works out, but they give up. Arch, do they? No. Stands. Second shot. From the gun. He's going to get all 4. Down at the arch.
Stunning from Stan. He was non-existent in the first map, but my God, is he woken up in the second. That's absolutely brilliant by him. Decent angle, times of perfection, second kill. Arguably a little bit lucky, but the teamwork and his aim and positioning in the last 2 was nothing short of sensational. Absolutely brilliant by him. Round number 23, we did say that's a tipping point, as MIBR have the force by now. CZ's P250s, and exactly what I was talking about coming to this map. If they start to lose consistent rounds on the T side, I don't see them getting themselves back into it. Looks like Complexity might have done enough at this point. If they can win this round, they'll be 13-10 up with an eco against them. But it's MIBR. So many times has this group of players been out of it on Inferno, then they win a CZ round out of nowhere, and at that point run away with the game. Shazam needs to be careful here. Smoke support his position, drops the incendiary. That will be extinguished, of course. They go towards quad now. There are 2 players there. Android and Ye need to work in perfect harmony to shut down this approach towards the A site.
Ye blinded, can't find footing. Tarek's able to win it out instead, but as you see, Android still sitting in the pit.
Oh my goodness.
Had a chance to catch them all. Fallen checks it. Again, you can never discount MIBR. They find a way to plant the bomb. They keep 5 players alive and doing it in depth holding from Library. They both want to go through the door together. They'll let the op go first as Shazam wants the far shot. Stan, impressive in the last round. Needs to be absolutely perfect in this one. Sneak into position. Through the hay bales, threw his aim off. He's still got a kill, but Fur responds, and it's Shazam out of there already. So 12-11. They have to save the AWP and the money. That's impressive. MIBR pull it back with pistols. They get charitable donations and weapons, and they break Complexity in doing so.
That's insane, isn't it? It's the round with the pistols, and I'm so glad I built it up in that fashion as well. Just when you think you've built an MIBR, and you've got the map in the palm of your hand, they come back and win with a great CZ play. Back to basics there. A couple of smokes deployed. 3 players from Complexity towards the B side of the map. MIBR come in and punish that pit area. Take down the first player, no problem. This was it. Look at the flashbangs. Ye can do nothing, and Fallen finds the cowering Android in the pit there. Round over at that point, but they continue to find frags as Burt closes things out there. 12-11. The auto shotgun's out. My goodness, is that a thing? We'll see. Android is going to have to play his heart out here with the auto shotty. He'll head towards the apartments, presumably. And once again, we're at that tipping point once more. It seemed like Complexity won the original battle, but it's all set up once again. Shazam with the AWP. Stanislaw just with the pistol. He's been so good at the rifle so far, but he's got a kill here. He's almost certainly got a kill.
Or maybe not. He walked directly into it for undetected to his left. You were absolutely spot on to suggest that he could have easily not for the unfortunate circumstances that led to his death first. His death falls off. He's got 7 HP still firing in. And the shotgun. Look at Android. Android authority as he runs all the way down to the bridge and gets a kill with the shotgun. That's going to give him an AK, so fair enough. If that's all he yields from the shotgun to an AK, not bad at all.
Absolutely.
Oh, that nade is well fallen. It's jumped in. It's damn good damage on Zephyr, but if it went any further and bounced, Fallen might not be left alive in this round. Either way, they'll take it. 2 players weakened up. Certainly helps the UMP against the armor. Side under threat. Yay again. Last time, remember, he overstepped ever so slightly from this position. UMP to work with, does spot them, falls off it. Android's going to give himself a bit of a chance to help by holding off the apartments by way of Molotov. He can swing left now if he needs to. Might not be wise, though, because they are heading back in his direction. Smokes himself in to see the doorway. They know exactly where he is. Molotov through that smoke, but does it extend far enough to catch him out on top of the fight? Not yet. Meanwhile, though, his teammate down, and a smoke to completely render him useless. He's going to allow a bomb plant. He wants to spray in, but he can't find it. And the problem is, in doing so, he continues to give up positioning. And look at Stewie. He has no idea. Android did not hear this at all. Dead man. Pit's gone. Bombs down. Round should be MIBR's.
I think you're absolutely right. They have to save the AWP and the M4, even though there's so many tantalizingly low HP players on the MIBR side. It is going to be 12-12. Complexity looked like they had this one in the bag. They lose the pistols, and the Brazilians come back to life. 4 players to survive here. Make it 3. Shazam gives his position up, but he will be surviving here as Money gets desperate for Complexity. Still a few rounds to go as Stewie Coldzera and Fur exits in an orderly fashion. 1 player waiting in the pit, that's Coldzera. He's got 100 HP, so he can survive in that position. It's a little bit odd for him going on so close range, but he's absolutely fine, and there we have it. We are all tied up, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe the tactical timeout comes in at this point. Remember, if you are just joining us, it's currently 1-0 after an absolute battering on train. MIBR lead the way, looking to close things out 2-0. But Complexity have at least shown how good they were in the group stages and how they got here in the first point, as they're looking great. The teamwork's there, but unfortunately sometimes MIBR can be so stifling with their approach. When they change things up, when they get the pistols and they go in as a group, there's not many people that can take them down.
And there's a few hints of an experience. Right, Android's starting to look a little bit nervous in the pit. You could argue he overcommitted when he was anchoring in that 3 versus 2, as it were. It was a 4 versus 2, but that, you know, the round I'm talking about was the pistols going back over. And in the last round as well, putting down the smoke early, trying to play an angle. He was almost trying to dictate the play rather than play to the information that he had. Not to discount the amount of skill he's shown. For, speaking of skill, very precisely takes over the boiler room, which is MJWP. And the M4, all that's left to fight with as they at least recover that from the position. Speaking of Android, he did get cold down with the Deagles, so that brings it back to 4-on-4. He's going to play with him. They won't anchor this time. Going to get aggressive, hold off that entire mid-wall, as well as Stanislaw pushes out respectively on the arch. And joining in is Shazam. This is all about information early, catching out picks. A desperate rotation back to the B site. A perfect setup. More so because the pistol up close for Stanislaw. If they head that direction, op shot lands from Shazam, he might be able to grab a gun quick enough to take advantage of it. 42 seconds and bomb is still on this side of the map, which, from a Complexity side of things, is exactly what they want. Tarek thinks it's going to be clear. Oh, now this becomes concerning. They push down. Did Fur spot this or not? I don't think he has. I think he's just missed it, but they're pushing out the exact same way. Going in behind them. Stewie's going to spot them inside the middle, and now they're going to follow. Long gets behind them. And they were positioned so perfectly, but the timing just barely off.
Yeah, it eludes him and fell. They got 3. Shazam, unfortunately, can't do anything with this. Oh my goodness, hits the shot on Fur, but does barely any damage through 2 corners of the wall and will be taken down. Matt, they still have money to buy, but Complexity lose their lead, 13-12. A nice little approach towards middle there. Looked promising. The Stewie, the timing hears him coming, and it's Fur. Open things up in the apartments there. Great shot on death. And then there it is. To close things out as well, that made it a convincing round in the end. 13-12, and will they buy up here? It's a tactical timeout. I'd say yes, the money is there. Complexity now of around $4,500 on average per player. They've got 2 UMPs, which is fine on a map like Inferno. One of the few I say the UMP is actually viable in gun rounds, especially if you want a bit more utility. It's a very utility-based map. You want to have the smokes, close out choke points, and segregating flush terrorists out on retakes with the incendiaries. So very smart, I think, to actually bring out those extra bits of utility. It's a map as well where you can have lots of cubbies and crossfires to hide within. The Jank are now looking a little bit more relaxed. It was a turbulent second map for them. Still a lot of work to do. Open hand of Fallen now. Their money started to stabilize somewhat. Not completely there, but we're coming to the crescendo now of the second map. Who will come out on top? MIBR look like they're in full control as they go up against the weak buy here in round number 26.
Bold, aggressive. Straight in to the exchange. Stan that gets one in return. That's a good play from Def to go back out, but he's got to be careful because Tarek's still holding off the angle. He wants to get aggressive. Smoke down. They won't know if he's retreated or not. The AK picked up and fired. He's got to be so careful. This position as they fire through, Tarek easily disposes of him. The man advantage now going the way of MIBR. B site wide open as well, and a bit of a panic rotation. Shazam wants to get the op over toward B. Smoke down as for now, but they won't overcommit either on the MIBR side, anticipating that perhaps that rotation happens sooner. Maybe there's a chance he's in a better position. Guessing game at this point on the complexity side. No one committing to the B side after all of the kills that went that way. Shazam figures if they're not going to commit now, they're expecting us to rotate, so maybe they're back over toward A, and that's where they go, and it's not wrong. The shot is there. Couldn't land it. Shazam has at least get Android to bail him out. He nearly finds his second over top of the box. Just barely misses out of the chance to find Fallen's head, and he makes no mistake to find Shazam. MIBR on 14.
I thought Shazam had them there, and he had them boxed in towards quad. If he gets that first kill, he could be over, but 14-12, a back and forth affair, a bit of a scrappy around this one as Tarek pushes the smoke, and then he gets it even more done on the A side. Fantastic work by him. Fallen though, I can't believe he nailed that. Shazam was ready and waiting as we get into round number 27. Has to be an eco here, really. 14-12 down, they're averaging around $3,500 per player now. You can't really justify a buy here, but at the same time, you don't really want to give MIBR match points. That's a massive issue and it has to be thought about here. Looks like they will take the eco. I can see pistols being purchased already. 4 HE grenades. So this can still work. This is winnable. So you've got two options here. You dump them all towards Banana at the very start, or you do them towards T-steps from the top or middle and continue to push down with those grenades and try and challenge any players that are trying to bunch up towards the underpass area, for example. Which way would they go? They can even stack it up with 2 towards middle, 2 at Banana. It looks like we've got 3 at least heading towards the B area. Android and Ye, who both have grenades as well, will be nading middle. So it's the latter of the options. There's the 2 grenades from middle. Here's the grenades from Banana. How much damage is inflicted? Not that much. They actually take a load of it themselves as Stewie looks likely to get his second frag. He might be caught out of position here, and indeed he is. Def takes him down.
Not bad. Patience pays off. Unfortunately, his arms sticking out a little bit too much.
And unfortunately, their map, they don't get any upgrades in terms of the weaponry, so that's a bit of an issue as Fallen removes the guns there. I thought he was going to be taken down, but he lives to fight another day. 3 versus 3.
Perfect.
And Tarek, yes, he is waiting right towards the Romeo position there. Yeah, he doesn't get to push any further, but he certainly will. Doesn't nail the first few shots. Remember, Andrew's got armor here, so he will melt as soon as the bullets get near him.
For
chance here.
Keep going on this. There's still a chance. The problem is that Fur is sneaking around as always behind them. Can he land it? Shazam, I was going to say, be a bit of a surprise, but apparently not. Ye does get one back. AK picked up and ball. He's got a chance, but he's got no positioning, and Tarek finds him before Fur even comes back into it. It is map point, series point for MIBR. Complexity did absolutely put up a fight on Inferno. Is it enough? We've had enough overtimes in this major so far, Henry.
We really have. It's been the Faceit overtime major. We've had over 30 of them.
And most of them on this map, just to note.
Yes, well, that's because we saw so much of Inferno in the best of one. But yes, it is normally Mirage or Inferno, sometimes Cash. But yes, it is a very common map. And it's my favorite cast, though. I actually love Inferno. It's got great tactical diversity to it. As we'll see now, Complexity is looking for overtime. 3 clean rounds in a row required up against MIBR, who look incredibly sharp at taking the last 5 rounds. So that's one thing Complexity about, is the fact they have maximum loss bonus now. Def looking to challenge Stewie here. Looking for that 2-0 though. MIBR was so dominant in the first map, and it was looking like Complexity had done enough until they lost that anti-eco. Or anti-force fire, I should say, the PT50s and CZs out. Ever since then, the clean rounds from IBR. What a catalyst that was.
Slowing the pace naturally. No need to get aggressive, tell us, give anything away, and like we say, potentially leave the door open for an overtime. go down in typical formation toward B. One at CT to contain, and then the counter smoke to delay the take on top of it. But really, as we see it, and as we know, not that they do, there's only one player on that position. And it was Fallen's up, which now retreats to join, potentially, and presumably his teammates with 30 seconds to head toward the A site. Forward stance for Shazam. MVP, though, is going to get absolutely wrecked because Android's flashed far sooner than he was expecting and couldn't defend his teammates' backside. The rotations have to come in. 3 players toward the B site. Bomb not yet planted. It was the one kill they got was the bomb carrier, Stewie. Dropping that temporarily does at least allow the rotations to get closer to the site. But they have to go. 2 kits in play. A single flash. That is all Fallen. He's waiting. He's got an easy shot. Spurs already found the 8. Fallen knows where the second one is. Stan gets at least the kill in return, but it's Mibr that'll advance through to the semifinals. Complexity put on a hell of a performance to get this far, but unfortunately can't come up spades against Mibr.
And all I'm going to say is, Matt, I feel like Complexity had that game. It was theirs. They were looking so good in the second half, and it comes down to that one round. I believe it was in round number 8 or something like that in the second half. That's when they lose to the Pistols. A great execution from Mibr, but ever since that point, it's been 6 rounds in a row for the Brazilians there, looking like they could actually be competitive in the T7 at this point. It's getting better and better every time I see them on it. Commiserations to Complexity there. I really enjoyed their showing throughout the tournament. You can see that.
We gon' burn it down. Burn it down. We gon' burn it down. Burn it down. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder.
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Show them. Change the station with a new shit.
It's murder. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
I killed it.